one and only Guy Sykes, legendary tour manager of all time. What's it been like, Guy?
It's been wonderful. It's like rock and roll summer camp.
I didn't recognize you with your clothes on. Normally I walk around naked, but I've been on a really bad diet lately of Limp Bizkit.
Well, I'd be doing better if Buzz from Unearthed didn't just kick my ass twice in foosball.
Us and System hung out and got fucking trash at this bar until 5 a.m. It was pretty awesome.
So how did you get into this?
Friend of band. It's something that a lot of bands do, as a matter of fact. But I started professionally with the Pantera guys about a long time ago. That was many years ago, before they were a major label act. I was actually a bartender at a nightclub that they played at, and that was back when the drinking age was like 18 in Texas. So Darrell was 15, and he was just this amazing guitar player, and I was like, wow, I've never seen these guys. And they played the bar circuit in Texas. I started working for them way back in the day for, I don't know, $20 a weekend, and here I am 20 odd years later, coming to Australia, rocking out for all the Aussie fans.
It's pretty special,
It is, yeah. I saw, speaking of Pantera, I saw Vinnie Paul earlier. The Hell Yeah Boys are down here too, wreaking havoc. So.
When we came down here, it was incredible, man. I mean, it was like the Beatles. I mean, it was insane. We played the arena there in Sydney, and there's a 20-foot chain link fence out behind the venue where the band and everybody comes out when they leave. And there was 500 people climbed up on that fence, and the whole fence was swaying, like
that's so excellent.
Chanting the band's name and going crazy, and right up to the very end, the fans were always there for us.
Like I said, it's rock and roll summer camp. We're all brothers. We've all worked for each other, so there's no egos. There's no nothing going on here.
Awesome, man. What was it like, kind of seeing Pantera kind of bloom into what they became?
It's magic. It's like capturing lightning in a bottle. It was great. I mean, they were really a great band before they were ever signed. Back in the what everybody calls the glam days. Yeah. But they were a great band back then, and just to see it build, it was just a magic time. Those times will never exist again. Bands can't blow up and sell a bunch of records anymore. It's the record industry as a whole is dead in that format. You can't go, and there's no rock radio, there's no MTV Headbangers Ball, you don't go out and sell 200, 300,000 records a week, unless you're Lady Gaga or Madonna. Those are it. Those days are over. So it was really special to watch it grow from, opening for Suicidal Tendencies and Exodus in the RV back in 1990 to, where we ended in 2001. Different magical memories that were there. The highlight, Moscow, playing with Metallica right after the fall of the Russian Federation. And, that was cool. A million screaming fans. We were in the middle of recording Vulgar Display of Power, so
pretty special record.
It was a great record, and opening for Judas Priest. All of us grew up with that. I mean, there's so many of them. Sharing the stage with Kiss, the original Kiss in South America. All of us grew up on that stuff. Black Sabbath. There's so many magical memories, and just the whole brotherhood. I mean, we're family. We're all family.
Well, it's funny, people still tell me Dime stories like all the time, every tour. And what was he really like? You knew him for so long, and
he was just a magical person. There's nobody else like Dimebag Darrell, and that's not just his guitar playing. He lit up a room, and if he didn't light up a room, there was something wrong. He was physically sick. He was ill. Yeah. There was something wrong with him. He was just that catalyst. Let's go. Let's do this. He was always the guy that drove you to enjoy life. That was what it was. It was just him enjoying life, and he wanted everybody else to experience that. Whether you're just a homeless guy that you meet in the street, or whether you were having a bad day or you were hungover or whatever, he was the guy. He was the band leader. He was the one. Let's do this. Let's get this going. Let's rock and roll. Let's have a good time. So, yeah. I mean, it was amazing, and I mean, that's the side of things that I prefer to talk about and love. I mean,
let's remember the magic, man.
It was magic. It seriously was magic. And as I said before, we captured, we meaning the family, but they captured lightning in a bottle. Those times, it was just a special time, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
What advice would you give to young men and women who aspire to that lifestyle, to living on the road?
learn from I learned from people that came before me. I didn't go to some magic school, and as with everything in life, you learn from your mistakes, but there's a lot of great people that are still in the business to this day that kind of took me by the hand and kind of showed me how it's done. And you know, it's like anything in life. You treat people the way you want to be treated, and you know, it goes a long way. Everybody has their own different style, but yeah, I mean, you have to work hard. This is not for everybody. I mean, it's not the glamour that some people you might see on reality TV. You know, oh, we're gonna go hang out with rock stars. It's work, and it's long work, and it is away from your friends and your family and your home and
it's a way of life
and everything. Yeah, it's your way of life. This is life. This is my life, right?
We're here with Ian Norrington, legendary tour manager, and many other things.
Many other things, yeah.
What else are you?
I'm a bodyguard. I'm the head of security for some international pop stars.
Now, you've been on the Soundwave tour a few times. So how would you say the pop world, 7 times, this is your 7th tour or 8th tour? Okay, this is the 7th tour. How does it compare? You've operated in the pop and the rock world. How does it compare? What do you prefer? What kind of a life is it? Why is that?
There's certain bands that do this tour that I'd work with for nothing. I'm not going to tell you because AJ will put me on them.
But it's a different way of thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. But ultimately, it's just a group of musicians that are travelling around a space that wear different kind of clothes, with tattoos with more meaning. Do you know what I mean? Rather than going, this is for my fans and this is for the sheep that I once killed when I was in Bolivia.
It's a bit more meaning to it. There's something deeper about rock and roll, isn't there?
Soul to it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
How did you get into this game? How did you become,
I used to be really, really good at fighting in East London. Yeah. And then one day someone said to me, do you want to come and look after this pub? Because there's fights in it. I know if there's fights, I'll come. So I went to this pub and started fighting for a living. And then by way of default, I kind of generated through the business and ended up with Robbie Williams and then with Boyzone and Westlife and Christina Aguilera and Motorhead.
So was that the moment you crossed over?
I think the crossover moment was looking after Marilyn Manson and Dieter Von Tess for just an award ceremony in London. And I bumped into some guy that said, hey, what are you doing tomorrow night? You can help me out with a band. So, and then I kind of, So,
what were they like?
Yeah.
As a couple?
Just 2 legs and a heartbeat. 2 legs and a heartbeat. It's just a paycheck. Yeah, no, they're cool people. I've had some real big moments. Yeah. Like working with like jazz musicians that are like amazing but standout moments. Yeah. Stayed in the Palace in Brunei with the Sultan of Brunei and met Stevie Wonder on a rooftop in LA. But you know what? Sometimes being on stage with the Cro-Mags and Biohazard and Less Than Jake, you wouldn't swap that for the world, man.
How did you get into your line of work, Jake? What was your first gig and how did you
my godfather, who was a carpenter for like the Rolling Stones and U2 and a lot of stuff, Aerosmith, he brought me out as his production assistant when he was the production manager for Taking Back Sunday on their only arena headliner they ever did, and gave me a shot, and I started working with My Chemical Romance after that, and I went from the third carpenter with them to their production manager, and I was with them until their last record cycle when they broke up and everything.
That's pretty cool because long-term relationships are important in this business, aren't they?
Lots of opportunity. They gave me, I thank them a lot for where I'm at today, and same with Slipknot. I've been with them since 2008, and it worked out where both of those bands' record cycles allowed me to work for them. So,
what's involved in a large-scale Slipknot production?
70 locals, including riggers every day, about 10 truckloads of stuff. I'm the stage manager on that one, so I have a production manager who deals with getting everything there, and then I execute on the day with our team. I have carpenters, have pyrotechnicians, we have 7 backline guys for 9 band members, which is a lot of people.
Yeah.
A full audio team, lighting team, production assistant, wardrobe, tour manager, assistant tour manager. Just for Slipknot has the equivalent of what we have for this whole tour with all the bands. So,
what's the most large-scale festival tour you've ever worked on?
Well, I was the main stage manager for the Mayhem Festival the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th years, and
that would have been amazing.
it also you know, got me a lot of gigs just from they would pick me up after the, you know, the tour would end. And,
Where are the craziest fans, do you think?
Mexico City.
You're very sure about that?
That's where you go if you want to shoot a DVD.